Hey guys, so I haven't looked at the schedule yet, but it was just released. So I do know that the first game is the Warriors. Obviously, we all know that. We've known that for weeks. But I'm going to break it down and give you my real time reaction. All right, so here's what we're looking at. We got Golden State, Minnesota, Sacramento, Portland, Minnesota. First 5 games, we got 2 games against Minnesota. So, first 5 games. I think we're going to go 4-1. Reasoning why. I would love to say 5-0. Normally, I would, but I'm going to give respect to Minnesota because they did beat us in the playoffs. So I'll say 4-1 in the first 5 games. Now, what we're looking for with the schedule is we're looking at back to backs. So we're wanting to see back to backs that are easier. Things like a Washington and Utah or something like that. Or I was about to say San Antonio, but I mean San Antonio is probably going to be a lot better this year. But you know what I mean, something like that. We don't want to see like a Oklahoma City and Clippers or something like that. We don't want to see 2 hard teams together. That's the last thing. If we see that, then the NBA made some very bad mistakes with the schedule. So what we got next? We got Miami and Portland. That's our first back-to-back. Okay, that's respectable. Miami, Portland, not going to be great. We're good with that. Good job, NBA. And we got San Antonio, Atlanta, Charlotte, Oklahoma City, all with days in between. New Orleans, Milwaukee. Okay, now that's a problem. That's our first back-to-back. So we have Milwaukee on a back-to-back. And another thing we have to look at with back-to-backs is you have to look at the time it takes to get there when flying, because that's also an issue. Is you can't just look at the team, but the travel. So the travel between New Orleans and Milwaukee, that's like I don't know flight time, but I'm saying that's between a 4 and 5 hour flight, I'm guessing. That's a long travel time for a back-to-back. And not just that, you're playing Milwaukee. Now, JJ, he played in the NBA. He's a smart guy. I'm sure what he's probably going to do is he's probably going to rest his guys in New Orleans and play them in Milwaukee. But at the end of the day, I wish it wasn't Milwaukee on that back-to-back. But unfortunately, it is what it is. And then we got 2 games of Utah on the 18th and 23rd. We got 5 days in between. So that's a good rest time after that Milwaukee back-to-back. That's good. Then we got Clippers, Dallas, New Orleans, Phoenix, Toronto, and Boston back-to-back. See, that's another one of those things. It's a Boston on a back-to-back. That's very frustrating that they do that. And what's worse is Toronto is in Canada, so they're going out of the country. So not only are they having to go out of the country, but they're having to go all the way from Toronto to Boston. Now that's not as bad of a flight. That's still like a 2-hour flight. That's not terrible. It would be nice if it was only like an hour. That would be fantastic. But at the end of the day, they are playing Boston, and when you think about it, yes, Boston, they have traded a lot of their pieces, but Boston and the Lakers are realistically the only 2 rivalries in the NBA. They're realistically the only 2 legit rivalries in the NBA. So Boston, they're going to get up for the Lakers no matter what. They're always going to get up for the Lakers. It's like the Clippers. The Clippers think they're a rivalry for the Lakers, so they're always going to get up for the Lakers. Now, they're not really, but they think they are. So, with that Boston back-to-back, I'm sure JJ, smart guy, is going to rest his guys on Toronto, play them in Boston. So that'll be fine. Philadelphia and Utah. This is interesting. Look at this. Okay, so that didn't work. So December 7th, and then 10 days in between to December 18th. Now, I don't know what that is, but I'm going to take a wild guess, and I'm guessing that might be like a play-in tournament or something, and that may be like the championship in between the play-in. I don't know, but that's 10 days. That's a long layoff. So I'm guessing that's like the play-in championship time, and they don't know who's going to be in it, and that's why. But I'm not certain. But that's a good layoff in between. Regardless. So then we got Utah, LA, Phoenix, Houston. We don't have very many back-to-backs at the beginning of the year. See, I wish that we had more at the beginning of the year, and then we had less towards the end of the year. So going through the beginning of the year, and we've only had 2, that's not looking good so far. So then we have Sacramento, Detroit, Memphis. See, one thing that I do like though, and that I wish we had more of, is these back-to-back teams. Like we had Utah here, Utah, and then the Memphis. I like that, and I wish we had more of those back-to-back teams so we could just stay in that city and play that. That would be nice, but unfortunately, that's never going to happen. So then January 6th, 7th, back-to-back, New Orleans, San Antonio. So San Antonio's interesting. I think they're going to be a lot better team this year because they have an extra year under them, and they have a better team this year, obviously, and they have an extra year to get better. But I don't know. That'll be interesting to see what happens with them this year. But with them being a back-to-back with New Orleans, San Antonio, I like that back-to-back. Much better than a Boston or a Milwaukee one. So that's good. Then we got Milwaukee, Sacramento, Atlanta back-to-back. That's good. I like that. Then Portland, Toronto. See, I don't like this. And the reason why I don't like this is because we got back-to-back, and then we got a day off, and then another back-to-back after. Now, the good news is it is Sacramento and Atlanta, and then Portland, Toronto. Now, those are easy teams to have back-to-backs on, but I don't like that they're so close together. It reminds me of last year when they had all those like 5 games in 6 nights or 5 games in 7 nights or something. That's what that reminds me of, and that was terrible. And I don't know the math of that. I'm not adding that up, but that's what it looks like, what it is. 2 back-to-backs and 5 games. Jesus Christ. But the one last year was because of the fires in LA, and this isn't even because of the fires in LA. This is just because the NBA is bad at scheduling. So then we have Denver, LA, Dallas, Chicago, Cleveland, Washington, New York. Not a lot of back-to-backs here. Brooklyn, Philadelphia, Golden State, Oklahoma, San Antonio. So one thing I do like about this schedule is that they do kind of space out the good teams and the bad teams. So they kind of give us time between playing a great team and then playing lesser teams, and then a great team, then playing lesser teams. So we can have time to play a great team and then time to maybe rest some guys in between and then play a great team again. That's one thing I do like about this schedule. So overall, I do like this schedule so far, besides a couple of the back-to-backs. And we got Oklahoma and San Antonio back-to-back. See, I like that because the first game is Oklahoma City and then San Antonio. So I don't mind that nearly as much as the other ones. I wish it was an easier team like a Brooklyn, San Antonio, but at the end of the day, I don't mind it per se. All-star break here, between Dallas and LA. That's why there's that big break right there. Then we have Boston, Orlando, Phoenix, Golden State. I wonder how many back-to-backs we have. I'm not seeing very many. Sacramento, New Orleans, Denver, and honestly, I feel like because we're not having very many back-to-backs, once I go down further, we're going to have a lot of back-to-backs, and that's not good to have them at the end of the season. 5th and 6th, Denver and Indiana. Now, Indiana is not going to be a good team next year for obvious reasons. Get well soon, Tyrese Halliburton. But Denver is going to be a better team. So probably assume, like I said, JJ, smart guy. What he's going to do is he's going to play his guys on Denver and rest them at Indiana. And then we have a lesser team in New Orleans. See, the NBA actually did fairly respectable so far at doing our schedule. I will give them that. And then we have New York, Minnesota, Chicago, Denver, Houston. See, like I was saying, I wish there were more games like this at Houston, where we literally don't even leave the city. So I wish we had more games like that. But unfortunately, that, like I said, it's never going to happen. Miami, Orlando. See, more things like this as well. Miami and Orlando. So they're both Florida teams. So that something like that as well, like, would be nice. Or like when we play in the Clippers, if we played a bunch of California teams, stuff like that. That would be really nice. Or play East Coast teams kind of together. That would be great. It would be helpful travel wise, especially if they were going to do that with back-to-backs. That would be great. Maybe in the next CBA they can do something like that. Detroit, Indiana, Brooklyn, Washington, Cleveland, Oklahoma City. Finally, we have some Cleveland, Oklahoma City, Dallas, Oklahoma City. See, now we're having the teams together that are going to be great. So I feel like what's going to happen as we go down is there's going to be the good teams together instead of, we're almost done with the schedule. We're pretty much done with the schedule. So then we have Washington, then we have Cleveland, Oklahoma City, Dallas, Oklahoma City. The end of the year is going to be, oh gosh. So that's going to be an issue. So the thing with that is, because it's going to be the end of the year and we're going into the playoffs, you would hope to see you're playing easier teams at the end of the year so you can rest people going into the playoffs. But because of the fact we're playing hard teams, if we don't have a great seeding, then we're going to have to play all of our people going into a Cleveland, Oklahoma, Dallas, because Dallas is going to be better at that time because they may have Kyrie back. And Oklahoma City again. So that's going to be complicated. Golden State and then Phoenix. Phoenix probably isn't going to be that great. Golden State, they're probably going to be better. I mean, they were a lot better with Jimmy Butler last year, so we'll see what happens with that. And then Utah is our last game. So the majority of the schedule, I like it. I think it looks pretty good. The back-to-backs look really good. There's a couple of them that I wish they were better, but at the end of the day, I think the NBA did pretty good with our schedule. I wish there were some things that were different, but the things that I wish that were different, I wish they were probably going to have to change in the CBA itself. Like, I wish there were things like that at Houston. I wish there were more games like that. Or this Miami-Orlando, I wish there were more games like that. Things like that, I wish we could have more of. But things that they did, like the having harder teams with a bunch of easier teams in between them, I like that a lot. So let me know how many games you guys think that they're going to win in the comments. I think they're going to win about 55. And the reason why is because I think they're going to win more than last season because they have Luka halfway through the season and they did play better with him than without him. And they also did get better over the offseason, but at the end of the day, I don't think they're going to win substantially more because the West did get substantially better. So at the end of the day, I'm going to give them 55 games, and that was my breakdown of the schedule. Thanks for watching.